In this video, I'm going to show you how we took this tiny little YouTube channel and made 20K from it in just 1 hour of work using our cash injection funnel, which is our fancy way of saying a webinar funnel. And the reason I make these videos is to, one, provide value so that you can see that we know what we're talking about, so that you're going to come to our agency to work with you as your marketers, to scale your info and coaching business. The second reason is to increase my connections and my network so I can have access to a higher level of talent and friends. So that's pretty straightforward. Without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. As you can see, how we made 20K from a tiny YouTube channel in just 1 hour of work using our cash injection webinar. And I'm going to walk you through the entire process so you can replicate it for yourself. And just so you have some proof right here, we'll go into the sales in a screenshot. Here you see $17,095 cash collected, but a lot of these are just because it's a low ticket program, so it's actually really shit result considering that, and I'm going to talk about that in the areas we could have improved section. But as you can see here, $17,000 cash collected, and then if you account for all the monthly payments of 197, and then you calculate out with his average churn, you get to actually above 20K from this just 1 hour webinar. So without further ado, let's just jump into it, and you can replicate this entire process for yourself, for your audience, so you can monetize your audience and generate cash into your coaching business or info product business or community business or whatever it is. This specifically was for a school community. So let's get straight into it. So what does the cash injection funnel look like? I'm going to go kind of step by step, show you the overview of the funnel, and then we'll go into the individual kind of pieces so that you can learn how to actually apply this for yourself. So the first things first is we need traffic, right? So what does that look like? For this case, in the case of Caleb, we used his YouTube channel, 27 now, but at the time it was 26,000. Here it actually says Meta ads. We actually did not use Meta ads because he has no audience on Meta. He, surprisingly enough, does not have an Instagram or a Facebook. So we just kept it to straight YouTube and Google ads, right? And what that looked like here also was in terms of traffic sources was, actually, before we do that, let me just walk you through the funnel. So we have traffic, and that went to the landing page. The landing page was there to collect, for them to opt into the webinar, save their seat, and for us to collect their details so we can tell them where to go. And obviously this creates a new lead pool that we can advertise to later down the line. Here, just to keep it simple, we had the YouTube ads and Google ads, YouTube videos and Google ads, which were pointing to a free class or a free masterclass on insert whatever you do or desired outcome, whatever you do. In this case, Caleb does AI SEO. More specifically, he teaches how to get better results as an AI SEO agency. So effectively, what we were teaching was how to rank local businesses higher in just 14 days. Free class. We told people to show up and they opt in here. And I'm going to show you the landing page and the confirmation page and everything in between. Okay. So landing page goes to opt in. So all they have to do is click a button, they opt in, and then they go through an application, really quick application, where we can collect their details and we can get some information on the webinar registrants as well. And then they go to a confirmation page. This is a killer for actual getting a good show up rate, because a few key metrics, there are a few key metrics that you want to prioritize when you've got a webinar going. You want to get actual total number of registrants and your cost per registrant if you're running ads. You want to have a good show up rate, so a good percentage of those people show up. You want to have a good retention rate so that a good amount of people get to the pitch at the end of the webinar. And then you want to have obviously a good close percentage, which comes from the actual pitch, which I'm going to actually show you. And I'm going to walk you through the entire pitch sequence that we actually used. So then they get to the confirmation page. Then obviously there's a nurture sequence here, which then brings them to the live event where the show up rate is obviously very important. Then direct to checkout, where we sold and closed $17,000 in cash collected from that webinar. So now that you know the kind of overview of the funnel and the general trend that people go through, let's go through the actual individual pieces of it, right? Where are we pushing traffic and how are we pushing traffic? 4 main ways that we were doing this. The first was just the link in the bio, right? So he gets traffic on YouTube, a few thousand views per video. So, around 50, 60,000 impressions per month. And which is not huge, but if it's the right audience, you can make some money with it, obviously, as I just showed you. And so we put a link in the bio of every YouTube video and get him to put a CTA. So we have a pre-recorded CTA where we basically plug it into his videos and get people to click the link in the top link of the description and then sign up for the webinar. That will obviously take them to the landing page. That's traffic piece number one. Traffic number two is his low ticket community. He had a community which was $27 with about 3K members in there. And so we basically promoted to that audience as well as people to come to the webinar. Now that's smaller than you'd think, because what we're teaching in the webinar is more beginner stuff. And so a lot of those people didn't actually register, but it's still an audience base that you can advertise to. So if you have a low ticket community, if you have an email list, which is obviously pillar number 3, if you have a low ticket community, an email list, past customers, previous clients, whatever it is, we use those people to invite them to the webinar if there is obviously a tier above what we sold them, so that they can get nurtured and buy as well. And then email was obviously another thing. So his previous email list, which had about 4,000 people in it, 5,000 people. And then finally retargeting ads, which were the big chunk of the signups. And so these ads, very simply put, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this looks like. So these ads are videos that we are showing to his audience, right? For him, ideally what you want to do is you want to have an audience of like the past 180 days or past 365 days of your YouTube viewers, basically everyone who's watched your channel. In his case, we only had 60 days because when he came on, that's the only audience he had for his YouTube channel, was just the past 60 days. So kind of pro tip is, if you don't have an audience set up a Google Ads Manager, go to the data manager, make an audience, and then capture the data, because you can't backfill data. You can only backfill 30 days worth of data. So start collecting data now. If you're posting a YouTube video and you're not collecting those people, you're at a massive disadvantage because you can't show ads to those people. And so you're making almost certainly less money than you could do. So go right now, create that audience and start collecting data, so you have a lead pool of your last 365 days worth of viewers that you can retarget to very, very cheaply. Obviously, these viewers are very warm because these people watch his videos or have watched his videos, so they're aware of who he is, what he does, and how they can help. And so running retargeting ads to these people not only is really cheap because you get really cheap CPMs because that's basically your audience, but and it's also obviously less competitive because you're the only one advertising to them, but they're also warmer, so they will get a better click-through rate on the ads, and they will click and opt in at a higher percentage, and also the landing page will convert better as well. So that is the traffic piece. We're basically pushing as much traffic as we possibly can from his audiences into the landing page where they will opt in. And this is what that looks like. So very simply put, what we do is this. We have free live event, an images on webinars, especially free webinars. If anything, paid webinars, you'd want a mini VSL. But for free webinars, image is the best thing. You want the headline to do the work. The way you know if it's doing the work is if the conversion percentage is good. So typically on a free webinar to a warm audience, you would expect anywhere from a 60 to 50, let's call it 50 to 75% opt-in rate. That's what we've seen in the warm. As far as cold webinars, you'd probably want to see between 30 and 50%. If you have that, that's doing pretty well. And obviously the coldness of the audience depends on how good your audience is and how kind of, how well you're doing there on your YouTube channel. But he had a pretty decent audience. And so in terms of like the quality of it. And so here we have, we saw about a 65%, 70% opt-in rate to the webinar. So we've got a very simple image, urgency with the date and the time, a kind of clock counting down, and then a save my free seat where you can click the button and it opens a pop-up form, because it's the easiest way. With a pop-up form, you get better conversions. If you go to a separate page, you usually see worse conversions because every time you switch page, you're going to have a drop-off. So as long as you're keeping them on the same page, that's usually the best thing to do. Then some testimonials, obviously, of showing proof. And then some belief-breaking stuff. So what the things they can expect to learn, what are the things they can expect to learn in the webinar? So ranking quickly in 14 days, using AI to do the heavy lifting, keeping clients happy. Another button, obviously you want to have multiple CTAs throughout the entirety of the funnel, and then some more results, just spamming testimonials. I just cut it off there so it doesn't get repetitive. Another button, and then some basically social proof stuff. Image of him with a nice car, just looked like a cool image, and we had to launch this funnel pretty quickly. Just for context, we launched it within like a couple weeks, and so image there, 7-figure agencies. He had 2 7-figure agencies, so that's a really good piece of social proof. $1 million plus on Upwork with SEO services, again, really, really good. And more than 2,000 students, fantastic kind of bit of social proof there, featured on Forbes as well. But just having a nice bit of social proof that that might get people even more interested to show credibility. And then obviously another CTA and then more testimonials all the way down to the bottom of the page. So that's the landing page. It's super simple, but with free webinars, you don't need anything more complex. What's really more important than anything else is that you really nail this, which is the headline and the topic of the webinar. If you don't nail the headline or the topic and people just don't care, you're not people aren't just going to, they're just not going to show up. They're not going to want to buy. You need to have congruency between your audience and the pain points of your audience, the headline, and it actually resonating with people in terms of giving them something that they want, either removing a pain that they want to get rid of or bringing them towards a goal that they want to get to. And it also needs to be really, really clear. If your headline is confusing or it doesn't immediately resonate, not good. So here, AI has changed local SEO forever. How to actually rank local businesses in 14 days. So how to get results fast, how to actually do it, and the mention of AI also making it, some urgency. AI has changed local SEO. Oh shit, I don't know how to do it. I need to learn from him how to actually rank local business in 40 days. Super easy. Don't try and get too complex here. If you're running, let's say, if you teach outreach systems to get agency clients or outreach to get any kind of, you teach an info product, BizUp, then you just say the one outreach system that got me to 7 figures or whatever. Just super simple thing. Don't get too creative when it comes to the headline. Just be clear and concise as it pertains to your audience's pain points. And if you don't know how to find this, go to your YouTube channel, go to the popular tab, see your most ranked, your most popular videos. And that is often a good place to check basically where your audience is looking. If they are looking at a certain video that teaches delivery, then do it on delivery because that's your most kind of highest converting content. If they're looking at, if your most popular video is on acquisition, then do it on acquisition. If it's on fat loss, then do it on fat loss if you're a fitness influencer. If it's on a specific technique of manifestation, then just do it on that. Just give your audience what they want, all right? So that's the landing page. The goal of this is to get them to opt in. Once they've opted in, they go to the application, which I'm not going to show you because there's a bit of sauce that we do in there. And so we keep that for our clients. But then it goes to the confirmation page, which is very important as it pertains to getting a good show up rate. Now, I will say, in here, I do mention the show up rate wasn't the best. It wasn't bad. It was about, I'm forgetting the number off the top of my head, but it wasn't bad. It was like 40%. No, higher than that. Yeah, like 40 odd percent. Which is not bad, but it could have been better. One of the reasons being is that our confirmation page just wasn't that good. And again, because we had to rush this funnel. And what we would have wanted to do here is a couple things. Usually what you want to see is a video here. So you want to see a confirmation video, which is basically telling them to do these 2 steps, which is check the inbox and complete the confirmation so that they get the invitation on Google Calendar. They go ahead and click accept so that they get it on their calendar. And the other thing is also to tell them to show up live and whatever. So in this video, you'd want a quick 2, 3, 4 minute video basically hyping them up for the webinar. The whole point of the confirmation page is to get them excited now. You've got their details. Now you want them to get really, really excited to actually show up. And you're going to get them to show up by a few things. By giving them cool resources to watch before the webinar. By giving them kind of a really high converting email sequence and blasting them with that in the days leading up to the webinar, in the 2 weeks leading up to the webinar. Third thing is a kind of SMS sequence that also gets them to show up, which you can collect the SMS through the opt-in form. Now, all these little things have a lot of kind of logistical steps in the back end of, the actual tech back end that you need to do. So again, if you don't want to have to worry with that and you want someone to do it for you, just top link in the description. You can go ahead and check out our funnel and book a call with me and my team. And we can see if we can actually just run webinars for you and do some of your marketing as well, so that you don't have to worry about it and you can just focus on having it done by people who can do it well, as you can see from this video. Hopefully I'm portraying that this is something that we do very well, as you can see by the results. Yeah, so basically you want to get them to confirm the confirmation, you want them to get them to show up, and you do that by hyping them up before it and giving them things to do, which is reading the emails and looking out for the SMS. In the emails, you want to give them a lot of value. In the SMS, you just want to have them more reminder-based, and they're more sparse. Emails, you can go a bit harder, and you can send, between 1 email every 2 days all the way up to 3 emails a day. It really depends on the size of the email list, how many registrants you have, the actual warmth of the email domain, and the culture that the creator has around emails. This is actually kind of something to take into account. If registrants or people who follow him, and it's kind of a niche community or niche audience, aren't used to getting a lot of emails, if you start spamming them, oftentimes that can kind of push people the wrong way. They just get annoyed. But again, you have to do it right. But either way, what's more important to understand here is that this is super simple. You just want to get them to confirm their spot. And what we would have done here as well, would have done better, is by having kind of more original content here that would get them excited before the webinar. But again, we just had to launch this in a bit of a rush. And so this was more rushed. But next time we run a webinar in a couple of months, this will be better, and I can almost certainly expect a better show up rate. So that's the confirmation page. Now we go on to the live event. Now, I can't take you through the entire live event, but this is the slide deck that we used. It was 250 slides long. So if you're doing a webinar and your slides are just 300 slides long, you're probably doing it wrong. But either way, at the live event, what I'll break down as the main sections, which is the first thing is the hook. So you want to get them excited. You want to get them hooked into it. You want to get them excited to be there. And you also want to break some beliefs and get them engaged. The reason you want to get them engaged is because if you can get them to take some kind of action within the webinar, like typing in the chat or doing something, the likelihood that they buy drastically increases. Because psychologically speaking, if you tell someone to do something and they do it, the likelihood of them doing something the next time you tell them to do something is much higher. So if we can tell them, do X, like type this in the chat, and they type it in the chat, when you tell them buy, or here's the thing, buy it, they are much more likely to listen to your command. It's just a fact of psychology that if someone listens to you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, the 6th time you get them to do something, they will do it. And well, there's a higher likelihood of them doing it. Okay? So the way we structure the webinar is first is engagement and hook. Get them hooked in, get them engaged, get them invested into the webinar. We do this with a quick true or false game where we basically get them to turn off all the notifications, get fully locked in. Then we do a true false game where we ask them 5 questions or 5 statements and they have to guess true or false. The 5 statements, by the way, are always objections that your prospects have. Whether it's, for example, I can't do SEO because SEO is too tech savvy, or you can't get results with local SEO anymore, or, whatever it is, right? Or like, for example, for a BizOp offer, it would be outreach doesn't work to get clients, or counting calories doesn't work to get, So it's basically 5 objections that they have that your product basically helps them do. And then you want to get them to do true or false. So you need to go viral to get clients or whatever it is. And then they will go false. Yes, it's false. Then it's, so you're breaking the beliefs in real time. And in real time, you're getting them to not only be invested in you by actually listening to your command, they will also kind of overcome some objections right at the beginning. And this will help them feel like they can get the results of what you're teaching them for free in the webinar. Then once you've done the true or false game, you go into story. So this is where you build relatability. People buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? So we have to get them to know us, to like us, and to trust us. How we do that is by getting kind of vulnerable is the word. You want to get vulnerable. You want to show where you started, what your transformation looked like, the challenges you went across the way, everything you had to learn, how hard it was for you to learn that stuff. The reason this is also good is because when you get to the pitch, you can circle back to that and you can say, it took me so long to learn this stuff, just learn it, or just buy my thing and you can learn it straight away. I'll show you exactly what we did on the pitch so that will make sense. But you want to do all those things in the story, okay? And you want to show how the person went from 0 to hero in whatever offer that you're selling. So that's super important to understand. Then once we've done the story and they know, like, and they trust us and they see that we are an expert in the field, we can then go into the actual value. And typically with a webinar, you want to do 3 kind of key pillars of lessons, 3 key pillars of learning. And the important thing to understand here is you're not actually breaking down every single thing that they will learn. You're bringing down pillars or concepts. You're giving them surface level value so that they know what to do, but they don't know how to do it. Right? That's what you want to do. You want to teach people what they need to do, not how to do it. So you tell them you want to do this, 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 this. You want to walk them through why those things work. So what and why. So you have to, whatever it is. And here's why you do it, but you don't show the intricacies of how you do it. A bit like I'm doing here. I'm showing you every single step of the webinar. I'm showing you how I've done it. Or I'm telling you what I've done rather, but I'm not showing you how I've done it. I'm not showing you in the individual actions that I'm taking, the individual scripts that we're using. I'm just showing you how it's done. And then if you want to learn if you want to learn how we do it physically, let me repeat that. I'm showing you what I'm doing, but if you want to learn how I'm doing it, or you want me to do it for you, then obviously you book a call with my team and then we get on the call and we see if we can help you. That's kind of the same principle as this. So in the same way, I'm showing you the slides, I'm showing you this, but I'm not showing you the exact copy. I'm not showing you how we wrote the copy because that's proprietary information. I'm joking, but it does make a lot of money. And so we want to get value from it by you paying us. Make sense? Same thing for you in the webinar. You want to show people what to do, but not how to do it. That can be confusing because sometimes how can be interpreted or interchanged with what. But anyway, so then we show the 3 pillars, and then we basically have the bridge and the transition to the pitch. That's very overview, but that's kind of how it looks like. And then I'm going to show you now what we do at the pitch. Okay, so let's do this. So what we do is once we finish everything and we sprinkle in testimonials as well at every single stage of the webinar so people can see that it's working, we go to, now here's the thing. What I just showed you is powerful, and if you implement it, you will see results. But I've only just scratched the surface. The foundation, the AI advantage, and the 14-day blueprint, these are just the beginning. Because what happens after day 14? What do you do when you want to increase the radius of your business? That's a local SEO term. When the easy stuff just isn't enough. Do you just accept defeat to your competitors who are actual experts? God, no. So what do you do after day 14? Just for some context, this was a 14-day blueprint for beginners to basically get good at local SEO. So again, what you can also do is show the first part of the solution in the webinar, but not the second parts. So you can either show, what to do, not how to do it, or the first section of a full solution. Okay. So what do you do after day 14? So here we showed in the first 14 days of setting up a local SEO strategy. Well, as I started scaling to 97 clients and learning all the strategies that actually work for SEO, I realized that to truly get the most out of SEO, you need to go deeper than just the initial 60 to 70%. There was so much more to implement if I wanted to go from just trying to rank more quickly and see quick results to dominating the local market and ranking top 3. And over the years, I was able to figure out true mastery, all the strategies that helped me rank 200 plus local businesses in the top 3 of their local area. And not long ago, I decided to put all my knowledge about SEO in one single place. All of my strategies from ranking hundreds of businesses, all of my proven SEO systems, and even my internal company trainings that took years to develop, all in one centralized place, AI SEO Mastery Pro. It's the complete fulfillment system that I use to rank hundreds of clients. Everything I've learned from spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on training and testing, and everything I've learned from after scaling not 1, but 2 7-figure SEO agencies. Here's what you get when you join AI SEO Mastery Pro. The actual content that they get. But that's not all. You also get tons of bonuses. You get advanced ad strategies, all the things that they get, all the features that they get. So as you're not doing this alone, because I mentioned coaching, you can ask questions, get personalized support, share your wins, get feedback on your strategies. Plus, you also get weekly Zoom calls with me where we troubleshoot specific situations, answer your questions, and stay ahead of the algorithm updates. And I'm not some guru that used to run an agency 5 years ago. I'm actively running and scaling my agency right now, today. I'm in the trenches with you, testing strategies, dealing with algorithm updates, figuring out what works in 2025 and the future in 2026. Everything I teach in AI SEO Mastery Pro is battle tested on real clients as we speak, so you can be 100% confident that it works. So you see how now we're building kind of the trust and the social proof around how we're doing it by kind of weaving in stories, right? So if you're an agency owner, now we make the pitch. If you're an agency owner who wants to deliver consistent results without spending 40 hours a week on each client, or you're tired of losing clients because you just can't show results fast enough, or you're just frustrated with your lack of local SEO results, you have to understand one thing. Now, this is a big relief breaker. You will have to learn these strategies eventually. This is before the pitch. This is before you give the price. You will have to learn these strategies eventually. It's just a question of whether you want to pay time or money. So you're basically making the no-brainer kind of case for the pitch, right? So you're in this game anyway, is basically what we're saying. You're going to have to learn these strategies anyway if you want to get to X desired result. You either will do that with time by grinding, which I talked about in the story of how we worked, 3 years of trying to get a strategy and it just didn't work and he almost went broke and all this stuff. You'll either have to pay with time or you can just fast forward and pay with money. But before we go to Q&A, I want to say thank you to all of you for staying till the end by making this a no-brainer and giving you a killer bonus gift. That's a typo, for being here today. Firstly, I promised a checklist. This is now being sent to the chat to make sure you download it, as it will not be available later. So that's the checklist that we gave them of everything we taught in the webinar, which was a reason for them to show up. Secondly, if you join AI SEO Mastery Pro before the end of the Q&A, I'll give you a custom video where I break down your SEO strategy and tell you the exact changes that you need to make for free. Give some kind of a bonus to add urgency. So before I tell you how to join, let me ask you a question. Remember when I said that you either have to pay with time or money? How much do you think this costs? I mean, after all, it's my entire back-end fulfillment system of my 7-figure agencies. And it's the same SEO strategies that have made millions of dollars for myself and my clients. It's also the same exact system that has helped hundreds of other SEO agencies retain their clients for longer. The same system that has allowed me to scale not 1, but 2 multi-7-figure agencies. How much do you think that that's worth? 50K? It would probably be worth it, wouldn't it? 10K? I mean, that would be a freaking no-brainer, right? 5K? That would be a freaking steal. Well, I've got good news. What I would have done here is I just didn't want to drag it on for too long, well, you're not going to pay 10, you're not going to pay 50, you're not going to pay 10, you're not going to pay 5. You can get all that today for just $9.97 a year or $197 a month. Boom. That's it. 68% discount. That's it. If you get started, if you're ready to get started, here's what to do. Go to boom, click join now, and then join. This link expires in the chat. This link is in the chat. The bonus expires when the webinar ends. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. It's time for Q&A, and then they go to Q&A. And so that is basically the pitch and how we do that. So hopefully you can see how we weave in the story, how we weave in pain, how we weave in some objection handling, and then get them to make the decision. And then we go into the Q&A where further objection handling and pitching can take place, where the link is being posted every couple minutes in the chat. And whenever someone asks a question, we find a way to weave in the actual program that we're teaching. So that is the kind of pitch and how we do that. So hopefully that's helpful. So now let's talk about some areas that we could have improved. 2 things: show up rate and pricing. Everything else went really smooth. We spent just $200 on this whole kind of campaign. So $200 to make 20K is pretty nuts. And the only reason we spent $200 is because the audience wasn't big enough to spend more. That's it. That's the only reason. We had the ad set at $100 a day. And so at 600, we launched that at day 7 away from the webinar. So it should have spent $700. We spent only $220. So yeah. And so areas we could have improved are show up rate and then pricing. So show up rate with a better confirmation page would have been done better, because again, we did it very, very quickly. And so didn't end up getting around to building as good of a show up rate as we could. And we kind of just banked on the fact that it's an organic webinar, so we'll be okay. And it was fine. We still got a really good show up rate. Like I'm not fussed about it, but that could have been something to get us some percentage points higher, and maybe would have got us to 25K or so. And the second is just pricing. Like, because it's a low ticket, like I consider anything under 3K a low ticket webinar. You're just expecting to make less unless you have sheer volume, like you're just Alex Hormozi or Iman Gadzhi or something. If you don't have that, then good luck. So that's really the 2 areas we would have improved. On the next one, we're going to branch out to cold, scale that much quicker. I'll make another video on that. We're going to do probably increase the price is what I'm going to recommend, and then some better show up practices. But everything other than that is just solid. Everything went really, really well. The webinar presentation went really well and converted really highly, above a 10% absolute conversion rate, which is really good. So we're very happy with that. Not absolute conversion rate. Conversion rate on people who showed up, which is good. So I'm very happy with that. It's even more than 10%. It's probably closer to 20 even. It's just been a couple of weeks, so I have the numbers on the top of my head. But overall, that's basically the system that we've used to take this tiny audience of 26,000 subs and make 20K from it in just an hour of work and just $200 spent. So hopefully this was useful for you. If you want us to do the same thing for you, you can go ahead and just put a link in the, or just click the link in the description. Other than that, follow me on X, Twitter. Sorry, X and Twitter, same thing. X, Instagram, everything else. And yeah, peace. Watch my other videos.